Contract to buy and sell real estate. This video will go over how to properly fill out a contract to buy and sell. You are going to want to start off with the correct date. It should be the date that you are filling out the contract. Next, you're going to want to put in your client's names. Make sure you do have a middle initial in there just in case there are any other buyers out there with the same name, especially if it's a common name. Next, you will fill out how they plan to take the title as joint tenants, tenants in common, or other. Remember, you cannot advise them on how to take title. If they have any questions, they should consult an attorney. After that, you can fill out the seller's name. If for some reason you do not know the seller's name, you can just say seller of record. 2.4, you're going to fill out the legal description as well as the county. Make sure the legal description is accurate as well as the street name and number to make sure that you are in fact selling or buying the correct property. After that, you go to 2.5, which is inclusions. Anything that is a fixture, which would be the lighting, the heating, the ventilation, any TV antennas, sprinkler systems, anything that would damage the property from being removed is going to be included in the fixtures. Other things that you may not think of are the oven and range top and the garage door openers. Personal property that should be included are things like satellite systems, security systems, smoke detectors. And you'll want to make sure that you do check all of those boxes, even if the property does not have them or you did not notice them while you were in there. Blinds and window coverings, curtain rods are things that are also included. Fridge, washer, and dryer, appliances that can be removed but are typically included, you'll want to add those in there unless they are specifically being excluded. Parking and storage. Typically, you'll only fill this one out if you have a condo or a townhome that has a detached carport or something like that that is not obvious as to which one the new owners will have. Water rights are typically only included if it is a rural property. If you have a residential property within the city, you can typically omit that section. Exclusions, this is where you would add anything if you were the seller that you did not want, that you wanted to take with you. If you were taking your appliances, you would make sure to put those in there. Any other things such as chandeliers, lighting, shelving, any personal property that you do not want included. Deadlines, dates and deadlines, section 3. This is very important. A lot of times you will see the abbreviation MEC, which stands for Mutual Execution of Contract. There are pros and cons to putting in an actual hard date and MEC. If you put in a hard date, there is no question as to when that date falls. If you put in MEC, it can be hard to pin down the exact date, as if you say MEC plus 10 days, does that start on the date of the contract or does that start the day after? So typically put in an actual hard date. Make sure if you are the buyer filling out this contract, the buyer's agent, that you're giving your buyer enough time between all the deadlines to accomplish anything that may need to be done. And here you can see if it is a VA or an FHA loan, the appraisal deadline does not apply. And here you can also see the definition for the abbreviation MEC. Next, you'll have your purchase price and terms. This is where you're going to fill out the purchase price, any earnest money, the amount of the actual new loan. If you were doing seller financing or assumption, that's where you would also put those. Section 4.2, earnest money. You're going to want to make sure that your buyer knows the dates of their earnest money deadline. If we go down here, 4.3.2, you're going to want to make sure that if you do check, depending on which box that you check, if you say that your client does have the funds, that they actually do, in case the seller does need to verify. If you check the does box and your client plans on borrowing the down payment and does not have the money in their account at that time, if the seller asks for verification, you can be in default of the contract. .5, new loan. This is where you're going to check the type of loan that your client plans on using. Typically going from a VA or an FHA loan to a conventional is okay, but changing from a conventional to a VA or an FHA loan usually is not acceptable. 4.6, assumption, if the buyer plans on assuming the old loan. If not, you can omit that section. And 4.7, seller or private financing. If the seller is going to be financing the buyer's new loan, that's where you would put in all that information. However, if you're not using it, just omit it.